The human body is impressive. We can run marathons, build cities, and forget why we walked into a room. But biologically, we are not finished products. We are a house renovated for 4 billion years without anyone checking the plumbing. So today, we are redesigning the human. Not as a superhero. No wings, laser eyes, or useless 8-pack. We are building the most realistic optimal human biology could actually support. First, one rule. An optimal human cannot be the best at everything. Cheetahs gain speed by sacrificing endurance. Gorillas gain strength by spending more energy on muscle. Tanks are durable because they get 3 miles to the gallon. Every upgrade costs something. So, our human will be a generalist, difficult to injure, cheap to maintain, and smart enough not to lick an unknown mushroom. We'll start with the skeleton. Human backs are terrible. Our ancestors spent hundreds of millions of years with horizontal spines. Then we stood the system upright and balanced a bowling ball on top. That's why your back can be defeated by a couch, a bad mattress, or turning 30. The optimal human gets a shorter, wider lower spine. Weight spreads more evenly instead of crushing the same few points. The knees get broader joints, thicker cartilage, and padding that can actually repair itself. Nothing dramatic. You would just hear fewer people make that noise when they stand up. Next is childbirth. Humans have large brains, but we also walk on 2 legs. A wider pelvis makes birth easier, but walking less efficient. A larger infant brain makes us smarter, but makes the infant harder to remove from the building. The realistic solution is not a gigantic pelvis. Babies would be born with slightly smaller brains, followed by faster, carefully controlled brain growth. The pelvis could also widen more during labor, then return to normal afterward. Humans already do a weak version of this. We would just make it less horrifying. Now the throat. Food and air share the same intersection. This helps us produce complex speech, but it also means a grape can kill anyone who eats it wrong. Our human gets a more separated airway. Air travels through a protected route to the lungs, while food passes behind it to the stomach. Redesigned vocal structures preserve speech. Your voice might sound slightly different, but lunch stops being a potential boss battle. Now, the face. Human eyes have a blind spot because the optic nerve passes through the retina. That is like installing a security camera and drilling its power cable through the lens. Octopuses route the wiring behind the retina. We would do the same, removing the blind spot and reducing weak points inside the eye. Teeth are an even easier fix. Sharks replace teeth constantly. Humans receive 2 sets, and the second must survive decades of sugar, coffee, jaw clenching, and opening packages with our mouths. The optimal human grows 1 slow replacement whenever a tooth is lost. We also get thicker enamel, antibacterial saliva, and enough jaw space for wisdom teeth to stop arriving like uninvited furniture. Now we reach the most important upgrade. Cellular maintenance. Your body contains trillions of cells. Every time one divides, it copies its DNA. DNA is a gigantic instruction manual. Copying it sometimes creates typos. Most do nothing. Some kill the cell. A few tell it to ignore orders and multiply endlessly. That is cancer. Our human gets better. DNA proofreading and extra tumor suppressor genes. Tumor suppressors are security guards. They inspect damaged cells and either repair them or order them to self-destruct. But the guards cannot be too aggressive. Destroy every suspicious cell and wounds heal poorly. The goal is precision, not paranoia. The immune system gets the same upgrade. Too weak, and infections win. Too strong, and it attacks pollen, peanuts, or your own joints. Our version identifies threats more accurately and turns inflammation off when the danger is gone. Inflammation for 3 days helps you heal. Inflammation for 10 years is your body leaving the oven on. This is the part of the video where I ask you to like and subscribe. It really helps out a smaller creator like me. You don't lose anything from doing it, but I gain a lot. Thank you. Now we move on to regeneration. Humans usually repair damage using scar tissue. It is fast and strong, but not identical to the original part. It is biological duct tape. The optimal human regenerates skin, cartilage, nerves, and small amounts of muscle with less scarring. But full limbs are unrealistic. Regrowing an arm requires bones, nerves, muscles, blood vessels, and skin to rebuild in the exact correct order. That is not healing. That is construction management. A fingertip or damaged knee, plausible. A new leg by Tuesday? No. Now aging. Aging is not one switch. It is thousands of small failures. Damaged DNA, worn out proteins, weaker stem cells, stiff blood vessels, and old cells that refuse to die. These are called senescent cells. They stop working, remain in the body, and release chemicals that damage nearby tissue. They are retired cells that stay in the office and complain. Our human removes them efficiently, preserves stem cells longer, and repairs damaged proteins before they pile up. This would not create immortality. It would extend healthy life. Instead of slowly declining for decades, you stay functional for most of your lifespan. then decline more quickly near the end. More rectangle, less ski slope. Now the brain. Making it larger sounds useful, but brains consume huge amounts of energy, complicate birth, and do not automatically create wisdom. A larger hard drive does not stop you from downloading garbage. The better upgrade is efficiency. Our human has stronger working memory, better emotional control, and a reward system less vulnerable to addiction. Fear activates quickly during real danger, then shuts off. Currently, an email from your boss can trigger an alarm system designed for discovering a leopard. We reduce chronic anxiety without deleting caution. A fearless human is not optimal. That is someone who tries to pet a bear. We keep empathy and social instincts. One toolless human is fragile. Thousands sharing knowledge can reshape a planet. The optimal brain is better at cooperation, long-term planning, and recognizing manipulation, not emotionless. So what does this person look like? Probably underwhelming. They are slightly shorter and more compact, reducing food needs and joint stress. They have broader feet, a sturdier lower torso, thicker neck muscles, denser bones, and a somewhat larger jaw. Their skin heals cleanly, their teeth replace themselves, their organs resist cancer, and their back works. So, how do we get there? Natural evolution would take an extremely long time. Evolution needs variation, inheritance, and selection. People are born different, differences are passed down, and some differences lead to more surviving children. Modern medicine removes many survival pressures, which is good, because dying from a badly designed pelvis is a terrible research program. The realistic path is technology. First come treatments for living people, gene therapy, lab-grown tissues, replacement organs, cancer-resistant immune cells, and drugs that remove senescent cells. These improve one person without changing their future children. Then comes embryo editing, where changes happen before birth and can be inherited. That is far more powerful and far more dangerous. One gene can affect several systems. A change that strengthens bones might reduce flexibility. Faster cell growth might improve healing, but increase cancer. Biology is not a character creation screen. It is a bowl of tangled headphones. The safest route would be gradual. Fix single gene diseases first, improve repair systems only when we deeply understand them, and test every change across cells, tissues, animals, and generations. Even then, society would need strict limits because optimal can quickly become a polite word for deciding which people deserve to exist, and that reveals the final problem. There is no permanent optimal human. The best body for the Arctic is not the best for a desert. The ideal immune system during a pandemic may be wasteful when disease is rare. The best personality for combat is not the best for raising children. So the truly optimal human would not be perfect. They would be adaptable, easy to repair, hard to injure, slow to age, emotionally stable, flexible enough to survive environments we have not encountered yet. Evolution gave us a body full of compromises. Technology may eventually let us renegotiate them. But until then, the current model works surprisingly well, except for the back. The back is indefensible.